In the animal kingdom, gorillas often greet each other with a hug. Certain species of penguins propose to their partner with a pebble. Female lions do all the hunting for their family. Orcas live with their parents their whole lives. While every family is different and every family is unique, the truth is, they're still our fam.
Welcome to Middle School Digital Shorts. My name is Chris, and let me tell you what I've been up to lately. So I'm actually trying to find a photo of me when I was in middle school, and apparently it's a lot more difficult than I had thought because I wiped them all out of the internet. But I can always count on my aunt to send me one. So good for you, lucky you, I have one. You see, this is me. This is me while I was in middle school. Aren't I a handsome little sharp-dressed kid? I mean, you don't have to answer that one. But this is one of these photos that was sent to me, but I want to give you a little backstory. This was during a time where it was my cousin and her birthday. She was having her quinceañera, which is a coming-of-age 15th birthday party for girls in the Hispanic community. You see, what is interesting is that this is where one of the most embarrassing moments in my life happened. I used to watch a lot of TV shows growing up, and one of the episodes in every one of these shows had a scene where a cute boy, me, sings happy birthday to a girl, in this case my cousin, and I thought I sounded either like Bruno Mars, Justin Timberlake, or Justin Bieber, and it sounded a little like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mencia. Happy birthday to you. And you see, my voice hasn't changed much since then, and it's still not good. But besides that photo and the why I look that way, I actually want to introduce you to my family. You see, this is my wife and my 2 kids, and although we look cool and happy, let me tell you, we don't usually look like this. A lot of the times, especially now, we are a mess and we hang out in our PJs most of the day. I mean, I love my family, although it's a young family. My wife and kids always bring joy to my life, especially with music, since they have better voices and more talent than I do. But what about you? What about your fam? You know, fam is short for family, right? It's how the cool kids say family. But hey, that's the thing about your fam. They make us go crazy. They embarrass us. They're always cheering the loudest in the stands. They get on our nerves, and they're some of the strangest people we know. And through all that, we still love them, especially when they can be some of the most encouraging, loving, and supporting people in your life. Now, here's the thing. I know not everyone likes being around their fam, and that's because family can be stressful, unpredictable, and even exhausting at times. Fighting, health issues, lying, rules we don't understand, yelling, all these things and more can make family a lot more, well, complicated. Now, add faith to that equation. Believe it or not, faith, what each of you believes or doesn't believe, can make things even more complicated with your fam. Whether you've grown up in the church or this Jesus thing is really new to you, here's what I want you to know. Faith can create tension in your family. And maybe you know this is true because your faith is really important to you, and what you believe influences the way that you live. And the way that you live impacts your family. And that's complicated because you might have a parent or step-parent, aunt, uncle, or sibling who doesn't see faith the same way that you do. And honestly, you're not sure if you're supposed to talk about any of this faith stuff with them at all. And they believe something totally different than you do, and that feels strange, and it's like you're on 2 totally different pages. Or maybe for you, faith impacts your fam in a different way. Because in your home, it's your mom or foster parent or grandparent who's really into this Jesus stuff. They love reading the Bible and going to church, and they think that you should love it too. But if you're honest, you aren't all that interested. In fact, maybe you're here because someone in your family made you sit down and watch this. Maybe they force you to come because they want you to believe what they believe. And for you, faith certainly is making things in your family, well, a little bit more complicated. Or maybe you aren't really sure about how your family and faith mix. Maybe you've always just said you believe because your parents told you to. But as you get older, you're not so sure what you really think. But still, you're told to honor your parents. And as middle schoolers, you don't always get a lot of choice in the matter, do you? So you keep going through the motions, but inside, you're struggling. And because you can't talk to your family about it, it's making things at home feel, well, a little different. You see what I mean? In one way or another, faith can create tension in families, which is confusing because we're also told that faith is somehow supposed to make things better in our fam. But that doesn't always feel like it's true, does it? So the question is, if faith can create tension in our families, how do we make sure our faith is actually helping to make our families better? The good news is, I have an answer to that question. Well, it's not my answer, actually. It's something Jesus himself actually said. And a guy named John, one of Jesus's closest friends and followers, wrote it down so that we could learn from it today. Before I tell you exactly what Jesus said, let me explain a little bit about what was happening when he said it. Just before Jesus was going to be arrested and eventually killed on the cross, he called his close friends and followers together for a meal. Even though Jesus had warned them that he was going to die, they didn't really understand. It didn't click with them that this was going to be, well, their last meal that they shared together as a fam. And to them, they were just doing what they always did as a family, sitting around a table, chilling, lounging around, sharing a meal, and just, I don't know, talking about life. But because Jesus knew the way things were about to go, he wanted to share a few important words with his closest people. So at that dinner, he dropped this important truth to his family. By this, everyone will know you are my disciples if you love one another. That word disciples simply means that you follow Jesus. Jesus was saying that people will know we follow him and believe in him by the way that we love each other. Jesus knew difficult times were coming, that his friends would be scared, persecuted, even tempted to turn their back on him. Yet, when it all came down to it, Jesus took this one last opportunity to remind them that loving each other was the most important thing that they can do. Loving each other was the way they could show the world that they believed in him. Loving each other was the way their faith could make an impact. And you know what? I think the same can be true in our families. That's right. If we want faith to do more than create tension in our family, if we want to actually impact our families for the better, then it's not about winning them to our side. It's not about convincing each other to believe the same thing or arguing about what's true or right. It's just about love, because loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. And of course, this isn't always easy. Loving your family the way Jesus asks us to can be really difficult. In fact, some days it may be the hardest thing you're called to do, but I think Jesus knew that. I think that's why he didn't leave us to figure out how to do this on our own. A few years later, God led a guy named Paul to write a bunch of letters to the church to instruct and encourage them in their faith. They were living after Jesus' death and resurrection, and honestly, most of them were a lot, well, like us. There were people just trying to figure out how this whole faith thing and how it impacts the different parts of our lives. In one of his letters, Paul laid out for them and us exactly what it looks like to love others. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. When Jesus calls us to love one another, this is what he's asking us to do: to be patient, kind, humble, respectful, and selfless, to not get upset easily or hold grudges, to protect and to trust and hope and stick it out with the people around us, to love our family the way Jesus calls us to love them. You see, loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. Love is where it starts. No matter what you believe or what your family believes when it comes to faith, this is something we can all do. We can all try to love the people in our fam just a little more. If you're doing it because you believe in Jesus, well, that's great. But if you're not sure what you believe in Jesus, that you believe in him, or you're trying to love your family, well, trying to love your family can still make things better. This week, here's what I want you to think about. What does it look like to love your family? It could mean being patient and kind to the adults in your home, to not be jealous of what your siblings have, not be rude to your mom, not be hot-tempered or quick to react to your dad. Whatever it is, give that a try this week. And to help you not get overwhelmed, start by just picking one. Pick just one of the many ways you can show love that Paul listed in his letter. Start there. Focus on that one, and you will see that love is how our faith makes our families better. Because honestly, love is what changes people. Love is what faith is all about. And even if it doesn't change them, it can change you. Remember, loving your family is how your faith can make an impact. This week, we're going to continue this conversation, well, as a group. Actually, we created this discussion group to be sort of like your fam here at Middle School Digital Shorts. And it's a safe place for you to open up, ask questions, and share some of what you're going through with people who love you and want what's best for your life. So as we head into our discussion group on Zoom, or if you're watching this at a later time, I want you to think about this question. What's one way I can show my family love this week? Much love. I will see you next time for the next Middle School Digital Short. Have a great week.